Every piece of advice you get about retirement or aging sounds exactly the same. They all tell you to downsize, move into a smaller place, cut down on chores, simplify your life. It sounds perfect on paper. But here is the hard truth no one wants to admit sometimes. When you shrink your living space, you accidentally shrink your life. You think you're letting go of a heavy burden, but you might actually be giving away the very things that keep you anchored. I am 78 years old. 5 years ago, I lost my wife, the woman who filled my days with warmth and laughter. After she passed away, our big family home suddenly felt way too large and painfully quiet. Every room was a constant reminder of her absence, and honestly, the silence was suffocating. So, I thought I was being practical. I decided to rent out that old house and move into a smaller, more modern place. I told myself a smaller space would mean less maintenance, less work, and maybe, just maybe, less loneliness. And at first, the math worked. There were no stairs to climb, fewer floors to mop, and my monthly expenses went down. But then, the reality set in. This new house was convenient, but it felt completely sterile. It felt like living in a tidy, empty hotel room. There was no front porch where I could sit and watch the neighborhood move by. There wasn't enough space for my grandkids to run around freely when they came to visit. And worst of all, the warm energy of the life my wife and I built together was entirely missing here. I realized that moving didn't make my grief go away. It just trapped me in a place that felt cold and unfamiliar. Before you pack a single cardboard box, you always sit down at the kitchen table with a yellow notepad. You start planning, calculating, and comparing every single aspect of your life. On one side of the paper, you write down the old house. You look at the layout: 3 bedrooms, a yard that demands mowing every weekend, a roof that might need replacing in 5 years, and the stairs that feel just a little bit steeper every winter. On the other side, you write down the new, downsized place: a smaller footprint, lower utility bills, 0 yard maintenance, and newer appliances. It looks like a simple math problem. You spend months weighing the pros and cons, trying to be the most practical version of yourself. You plan for the physical energy you'll save by not cleaning empty rooms, and you smile at the thought of extra money sitting in your bank account. It all looks perfect on paper. But here is the reality check that your yellow notepad will never warn you about. You can compare square footage, but you cannot compare the invisible structure of your daily life. Let's talk about the actual day-to-day comparison. You thought the new, smaller kitchen would be easier because everything is within arm's reach. But the reality is, there is no counter space to lay out the ingredients when your family comes over. You thought a managed condo or a smaller modern home would save you money, but then you meet the reality of rising monthly fees, strict community rules, and the fact that you no longer control your own property. In your old house, if something broke, you fixed it on your own time. In the new place, you trade your independence for convenience, waiting on management boards to make decisions for you. We compare the physical structure, but we forget to compare the location and lifestyle. You look at your old neighborhood and think, it's too much to handle. But you forget that those old sidewalks allowed you to walk to the corner store, see familiar faces, and wave to neighbors you've known for 20 years. You move to a modern, downsized area that looks quiet and peaceful, only to realize you are completely isolated. You now have to drive 20 minutes just to buy a gallon of milk or to see a familiar face. You spent months planning the perfect logical move, comparing dollar amounts and maintenance schedules, only to find out you compared the wrong things. You optimized your budget, but you bankrupted your daily happiness. When you reach my age, you start to realize that life isn't about running away from the things that hurt. It's about learning to live with them. I thought leaving my old home would help me escape the grief of losing my wife. But the truth is, that grief didn't come from the house. It came from the depth of my love for her. And you can't run away from love, no matter how hard you try. True peace doesn't come from a modern, maintenance-free life. It comes from being surrounded by your own history. That old house isn't a museum of sadness, it is a monument to a beautiful life we built together. It is the place where I am truly independent, where every scratch on the hardwood floor tells a story of a life well lived. So, I have made a final decision. The lease on my old house ends in just a few months. The very day those tenants move out, I am packing my bags and I am going back home. I am reclaiming my space, my memories, and my autonomy. I would rather deal with a big yard and a leaky roof in a place that has a soul than live a perfectly convenient life in a box that means absolutely nothing to me. If you are standing at a crossroads right now, thinking about leaving your family home just because it feels too big or too quiet after a loss, please take a breath. Don't rush into a decision based purely on logic. The space you think is crushing you with its silence might actually be the only place holding you up with its memories. If this story spoke to your heart, please hit that subscribe button to join us here on the porch. Drop a comment below and share your own thoughts or experiences with downsizing. I read every single one of them. Until next time, take care of yourself, and I'll see you out on the porch.